all the way from Cape Town, South Africa. Antoinette, welcome. We're so glad to have you on this show.
Thank you.
And I'm meeting you for the very first time through
Mm-hmm.
video, but I feel like I've known you through your work.
Mm-hmm.
And in leading up to this conversation, we were talking about the constant change that we're experiencing in our lives, even more so now than ever before. And how do we navigate that?
Yeah.
And how do we help others navigate that? And you're doing a lot of work in this space, so I know that you have a lot to share, and I know April and I probably have, we are working in this as well and have probably
Mm-hmm.
some nuggets to share. So tell us,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what navigating change is in the work that you do.
Yeah. So I think, and thank you. And I've just realized, by the way, that we have three A's. So we A to the power of three here today. So the A goals. Um, so if I think about what we have had to experience just over the last 9 months with the pandemic, I think if people were still under the impression that uh, kind of life is pretty much stable, and every now and again there's a change that comes, and there's a before the change, and then there's during the change, and then there's a new stable. I think it's the new normal has now really made it clear for people that change is a constant thing, and we're always subjected to more than one change at the same time. There's there's some research that's been done in organizations where people are asked how many things are changing for you at the moment, and it's a ridiculous number of changes that we are subjected to at the same time. Something like in the 20s. Generally, for most people, it's between 15 and 25 changes that they're subjected to at the same time. So I consider the ability um, to navigate on kind of shifting, I think about it as if you were standing on tree trunks on a rushing river. That's really what we're trying to do all the time,
Yeah.
try to just regain our balance.
So could you share a little bit on how you build that resilience to change?
So I think for me, a turning point has become realizing that I need to be comfortable with being in discomfort.
Mhm.
So it's not going to change. So the way things are at the moment, let me carve out some calm space for me in whatever is going on. And I do that. I rely on my meditation practice quite a lot, and if I, let me not give you the impression that I meditate for an hour both ends of the day. I am, I'm a firm believer in if you don't have an hour to meditate, you need 2 hours to meditate. But I'm but I'm
Uh-oh.
yeah. Yeah, but I'm not, I'm like everybody else. I life also brings those ups and downs. But I do have a regular. I find that if I start slipping up on my meditation practice, that's the single biggest impact. You don't notice it immediately, but you notice it, slowly but surely you realize, oh, I'm getting like flustered all the time. I'm feeling like I'm not quite sure where to turn, where to look. And then it's because you realize, whoa, I stopped doing my meditation. So for me, really, that's a really great, it's kind of a calm river that runs underneath everything I do,
Mm,
that helps me.
mm,
And there's another thing as well, and that is to simply not be attached to how things are. And that's kind of a higher grade thing. So because if things go well, we tend to be attached to it. We want things to
yes.
go We have an attachment to ease and to comfort and things going well. But as I grow in myself, what I really try and grow is not to have an attachment or preference for any particular state.
Mhm.
That resonates so much to me. And as someone who doesn't take the time to meditate with my big family and,
Mm-hmm.
and things, um, one way that it does help me is to practice breath and to
Mm-hmm.
slow down. And I do that through conversation with my friends like you and Anjali. I'm very blessed uh, to know so many coaches,
Mm.
right? Like I always say, coaches need to be coached.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and really, one of the practices that in my coaching practice is that it's not about me talking. It's about giving space for others to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and that's the gift that I get with all of you, and I try to give back is space to kind of talk out loud and think
yeah,
through,
yeah,
and to be able to really see and like see where they want to go next, and also be okay with what's in the present.
Yeah.
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 How about you, Anjali?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say, April, I think, meditation can maybe look different for different people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that the fact that you are fully present in what you do when you're engaging with others and you're holding space for others, and in the cuddling that you do with your kids, I think that that's
Mm-hmm.
in itself a meditative
Mm-hmm.
practice. But what resonated with me from what you said, Antoinette, is that idea that if that regular practice and I
Mm-hmm.
love your metaphor of the calm river
Mm-hmm.
underneath it all. And for me, it's different practices that I do, and I kind of with some intentionality, but it's my morning of calm,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it is writing in a journal, sometimes it is just sitting, and sometimes it is just reading from a meditation book. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but having that space has been so important, and
Mm-hmm.
how when things are changing fast, sometimes you lose that practice,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that you
yeah,
don't notice it immediately,
yeah,
but it comes back to haunt
yeah,
you, and
yeah,
then resetting back is so difficult. Like that's
yeah.
some of the things that I'm experiencing actually for the last month. We've been talking about just feeling the blues, feeling a little bit fuzzy, and my realization that I had let go of that
Mm.
calm river
Yep, yep.
in sometimes in supporting or helping other people, and kind of putting, doing something outward as opposed to taking care of myself
Mm.
inside. And so thank you for reminding me of that. And maybe I need to put, if I can't find 1 hour for meditation, then I need to find two.
Yeah,
but
and yeah, go for it.
no, but I also wanted to ask you, as part of resilience, there's a sense of, being comfortable, you know, having comfort in change,
Mm-hmm.
but being uncomfortable when you're too comfortable
Mm.
because of change. Is that
Mm.
something that has, I have been thinking about that. It's like, oh, if things are too calm and too settled and the world is changing faster
Yeah,
and faster, is it
yeah,
something that I
yeah,
need to be doing in order to be able to keep up?
yeah,
But
yeah,
it also puts me on kind of a treadmill. It's like there's never a sense of satisfaction
yeah,
in where I am,
yeah,
because as soon as that calm happens, it's like, oh, what should I be thinking about? What should I be doing? Where should I be
yeah,
going?
yeah,
But
yeah.
is that something that you experience too, or maybe I need to pay attention to?
Well, I can certainly say that I experienced that too, and I blame it to some extent on what the world that we are steeped in. The kind of achiever-oriented world that we are steeped in. I mean, so most of us say, "I will never have enough time." There's never enough time to do this. I so wish that I could have time to do more of that. I was watching, so true confessions, I was watching a Hallmark Christmas movie last night. Okay. So I love Christmas, and as I was watching this movie, I thought, I'm not quite sure why I'm watching this, because this is so trite actually, but it portrays this picture of people really taking the time to prepare for Christmas, and wrap up all their presents in homemade Christmas paper, and bake all the cookies, and have a communal activity of cookie decorating. It is actually quite funny. But there was, something in me while I was watching this was wondering and looking at myself, thinking, would you ever allow yourself to, for 3 weeks before Christmas, be spending most of your time on creating gifts for people? And, however much I love people, I mean, I love my own family, I love my friends, and I love making gifts. So I think that and the answer from me is, well, I'm not sure that that's a priority given everything that I have to do in my life. There are more important things that I have to do. So I think it is, for most of us, it's quite hard to accept a place of I don't have anything to do. Everything is perfect the way it is, and I don't have I can take this time and do absolutely nothing. For most people that I know of and that I have in my circle of colleagues and my circle of friends, that's a no-no. People will still devote time to doing exercise, which is a kind of meditation for a lot of people, exercise, or go away for a weekend to visit with friends. But it's almost never that there is a gap for just really being, just really, and that's on a daily basis with your time, but it is also on a where I am in life. Can I be okay with where I am in life, and can I just enjoy? I've worked so hard to get to this point. Can I just be okay with what's here?
Yes.
And I'm reminded. I don't know if anybody knows Sean Aker. He's a positive psychologist. Okay, and
Happiness,
he's
the book on happiness,
the
right?
book on happiness.
Yes,
So
yes.
where he says he doesn't really ever meet people who come to him that he has to say to them, you are too kind to yourself. Okay, madam, your problem is that you are too kind to yourself. So there's this driving the whole time that really robs us of our happiness.
Yeah,
So
So
yeah.
if we were to gift others something on how to build their own personal change resilience, what would you offer them?
I suppose I would offer them, first of all, that it's perfectly normal to feel frazzled by change. So you asked a little bit earlier, is there ever a point where we get to too much change? There absolutely is. So it's a normal thing to feel frazzled by change. And wherever they are with that change, and wherever they are with changes, that it's okay. So we can pause changes to some extent as well, and say, okay, so right now I'm not ready for this. I'm not. It's not going to go away, but I'll come back to it. And I suppose the other thing as well is to make peace with the fact that, in my mind, there was a time in the world where we were just, happily going along. I probably think that's a fabrication of my
Yes.
mind. So yeah, so kind of to make peace and to take care of yourself. Make sure that the I think about my little reservoir of the ability to cope with change, that gets depleted by certain things, and there's certain things that build it up. So if you identify what those things are, that keeps your reservoir full to bring, to take the time to get more of that into your life. So, what do you think, April?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I believe that that's a perfect way to articulate it. What I get out of that is that we know that change is a constant. That's an unknown, and it's something that won't. It's not that something that won't change. The fact that there will continually be change, and that the concept of pausing so you can to invite breath into your life, to invite that peace, is something that we need to continually be in tune with, so we can meet those needs, refresh, and that we find freedom in that, freedom from it all. And that's probably a perfect point to close today. And I
Actually,
thank you
April,
all.
I want to add something.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
So I
ahead,
think
my friend.
we touched on it a little bit right before this call about how much community really helps us navigate change. And yesterday, I shared we have a South Florida Women in Agile group, and we had our virtual holiday party, and we had a chance to look back at 2020 with gratitude, a year of such unbelievable change. And it feels like some of us are ready to say, okay, goodbye and welcome 2021. I don't want to think about 2020 anymore. But when you look back with the lens of gratitude, the stories that the women told of the positive things that came about this past year, and that would only have happened because of what we went through with this change. So change can be something that invites goodness and positivity in our lives as well. And to be able to tell the stories of that and to have community that can share those stories, I think is a huge boost in building our resilience. So I wanted to add that as well before we close. So thank you.
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Antoinette, to continue seeking breath and freedom. You can always follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll be posting the things on LinkedIn and Twitter and other social media. So thank you all. Like, subscribe, comment. We're happy to hear you. And if you would like to be invited on, we welcome you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Antoinette.